If you see somebody trying to teach somebody else the game for the first time, please don't be the unless guy.
As is good in one area of nerddom is good in another area of nerddom. The video this clip was taken from was about teaching trading card games to people. You don't want to be the person that constantly says unless when someone's trying to learn, because it muddles the teaching. If I'm playing Magic the Gathering, I will tell you that creatures cannot attack the turn they come into play. And if you're the type of guy who goes unless it has haste, now I have to describe what haste means. I have to interrupt the lesson about the basic rules of the game for something that someone wasn't even ready to dive into anyway. This also holds true for science. An example, I recently made a video on mass energy equivalency. And I talked about how as you get faster to the speed of light, your mass increases because you're putting more energy into that mass to get it close to the speed of light. And people said, well, that's relativistic mass. And I'm like, yes, it is relativistic mass, but now I have to explain what relativistic mass is, which is a whole other topic that deserves its own video, and that I'm going to get to eventually because it's an important topic. But you don't need to know the difference between relativistic mass and normal mass to get the basic concept of mass energy equivalency across. Or like every time I talk about the speed of light being the universal speed limit in a discussion about relativity, someone inevitably comes in and says, what about wormholes? Or what about how quickly the universe is expanding? And again, those are exceptions. There's lots of exceptions in silence. There's lots of unless. But being the unless guy makes it harder to teach the concept you were trying to teach. And relativity is already very complicated. So be curious, ask questions, but try not to be the unless guy. Not just for me, but for anyone in any topic. Whether that topic is relativity and the laws of the universe, or how the fuck you play Magic the Gathering. Which, by the way, is a much simpler game than people make it out to be. People say it's very complicated because the comprehensive rules of Magic the Gathering are like 252 pages long. But that is 252 pages of just unless. I could fit the core rules of Magic on 1, maybe 2 pages. And the game would be a lot less intimidating if people stopped going unless all the time. Similarly, I feel great when people make a comment in my videos saying you made it so easy to understand. The reason why these lessons are a little bit easier to understand than others is because I'm not super interested in making every lesson super complete. Anything I would say unless about, I just toss out the window and say I'll get to it in another video. When you remove the unless, the lesson becomes clear. So don't be the unless guy.